We were looking for Hank.
Yeah, Hank. So Hank had escaped from slavers.
Yep.
And from some mysterious person who tried to lure him into a room and trap him.
No.
And he had the box.
Yep.
And he was just going full tilt through the Undercity with the beam shot.
Yeah, he was just.
And the party was trying to find him.
He was just running crazily around. We'd managed, or Cricket had managed to contact him with sending, and we had suggested, let's go and meet up at the place where the tower crashed, because that's a good landmark. There won't be as many people there, and it's obvious where it is, because there's a big plume of smoke still coming up. Excuse me. So the rest of the party, the not Hank part of the party, we try and get there to the place we're going. We try and get there through the utility tunnels. And we're completely lost, of course. It's a maze down there. So Cricket tries poking her head up through one of the manholes to sort of, see where they are. And I think she flubbed her stealth check or something. I can't.
I don't think so. I think it was.
Nothing came of it if she did, but.
I thought
I just seem to
Aurora
remember.
made a streetwise check.
Right, Aurora.
And did really well.
Yeah, Aurora
So you guys
was peeking up to see if there were any signs, like 50th Avenue and 40th Street or whatever, that sort of thing. And she did really well at that. So yeah, we basically figured out our way to the place fairly. I don't think there were any major obstacles to getting there.
Well, as far as the place itself, you were basically already there.
Yeah.
You were just sort of exploring around.
Well, I mean, we never really got far from where the thing crashed in the first place, so yeah. So we got there fairly easily, and then we had to sort of decide what we were going to do while we waited for Hank to possibly find the place, and that's when we decided to just start talking to people. I think. I can't remember. Why did we talk to that guy?
Well,
gnome?
part of it was because Aurora wanted to.
Of course.
The party kind of mentioned something like, maybe we should, talk to someone up top and see if it's find out where the different people are, what the lay of the land is, who's all in the city. And then someone was like, well, I don't know if that's a good idea. And Rob was like, as soon as you said that, Aurora was already up the ladder. So
Aurora went to go and talk with, it turns out, this random gnome on the street.
And she sort of stealthed around, scoped out someone who she thought was...
So, tell me, how are you feeling now that the tower has crashed?
Well, she found a gnome who was clearly, investigating the broken tower and had no idea what it was going for. And she could tell he was hungry for information, so he might be a good person to...
trade some information with, yeah.
Do you feel like you would be willing to trade your freedoms for the security against these terrorists?
So, she talks to this gnome. And he's Serendipity Van Goldstrike, Malor Slayer, the Butcher of Rackrange, and Toplar Towers, kept trying to tell her, gnomes can't be trusted. Don't talk with this gnome. Don't do that. But she went out and talked with the gnome anyway. And to sort of break the ice, she complimented him on his clothing, because that's all she could see anyway. And tried to find out where he'd got it from, so she could get some for a friend of hers. And initially, I think he was very who is this idiot that's trying to talk with me, kind of thing. But he started warming up to her. Why did that happen?
Well, I mean, partly it was because she made a diplomacy check, but she just talked with him.
Yeah, but
the thing is, it became clear he was giving her the cold shoulder, but was actually really interested in the conversation, right? He was like, well, I don't think it would be a point telling you where I got this because it wouldn't look good on you. I'm not sure what else would. Yeah. And etc.
Yeah, lots of passive aggressive sniping and stuff. It's the gnomish way.
Yeah.
But I remember that at some point he she started dropping hints about how she knew a lot of information about, the tower that had crashed and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he said...
And that's when he wanted her to come with him to go hang out with his friends.
Yeah, he'd been saying she was, an idiot, but then she's like, well, maybe you can hang out with my friends. They're pretty cool. We could, you can come back and...
over in that dark alley there,
hang out. And she wasn't interested, so he... whatever. You probably aren't cool enough anyway.
Yeah. It started getting a real high school vibe going there. You know, he wanted to hang out with the cool gnomes. And they're like, yeah, you're lame, but you can hang out with us still anyway, that sort of thing. But she never went along with that.
She
tried getting a map out of him.
Yeah, and but he didn't really. It's not so simple as like a thing you can map. Like he could sort of show where the local factions were nearby, but it's all very fractured throughout the city. He told them that in the Undercity, that's where the freaks, which are the dwarven magical cyborgs, the freaks are generally down there, and the bone eaters are generally down there, and on the surface, he named the different factions. He was from the faction the Shishi, and there was also he had nothing good to say about the Brainiacs, that they thought they were so smart, but actually they were idiots.
Nerds.
Yeah. And there's also the town guards who think they're so great, and there's the.
But they got trashed by the tower crash.
There's the Luddites as well. That might be it.
I think those were the major factors. So we learned a lot of little minutiae about, what's going on in this city. Not a whole lot of directly useful information. And then meanwhile, down below, Hank's trying to find his way to us. And failing miserably. He winds up looping back to that slave market where they were going to sell him.
Yeah, he did so poorly. He did this streetwise check to try to figure out his bearings by looking through a manhole. He did so poorly that he just ended up at the same place he fled from.
So,
and then he ended up at the place he had fled from the second time.
Yep, that dead end where that dwarf had taken him, and he could hear through the fake, the secret door. He could hear voices discussing or something like that. But he decided not to go in and kill everyone.
Yeah, he made a tactical decision. He was like, he raised his hammer and was like, ah! No.
This is something that murder is not a solution for. He's really growing as a character. So, eventually, he was like, screw it. I can't find my way there through these passages and stuff like that. It's all a big maze and I can't find my way. So he goes back topside, comes out of the manhole, looks around. There's the plume of smoke from where the tower crashed way over there. So he just starts with his beam shot, Spider-Manning his way through the city.
So I had him roll a stealth check to try to be surreptitious. He quickly failed it. So we decided you're just shooting through the city. He's like, spider dog. As he just draws the attention of the whole city shooting overhead.
So eventually he shows up.
That's the Hank we know and love.
Yep.
Yeah, he actually goes right over top of the party, and they all start shouting, and he's like, huh? Oh, okay. And comes back down, and they can hear someone in armor shunk coming from.
Basically, the whole city's been roused now. They're like, that's where those people are.
So things are going well.
So
the party's back together.
Yep, the party's back together, and we have the box. It's fantastic. So, but everyone is coming for us now. So we decide, okay, back into the tunnels.
How do you know whatever was in the box is still in the box?
It rattles when you shake it.
Yeah.
The same as it rattled before this whole fiasco. So, we also tried doing some object reading on it.
That poor
was later,
creature
though.
that's stuck in there is going to have
that
a
was
really
after
bad
the next part. So.
All right. So anyway, we go back down into the tunnels because we got to get away from where we are and we got to hide. And it's the best place to do it.
As they're going in, they hear someone whistling, doing like a
bird call type thing.
That happens.
So as soon as we get down into the utility tunnel, we start heading down one of the tunnels. Huge ambush.
Well, it's not exactly an ambush. Well, it's just pseudo ambush.
I mean,
they run into a group of dwarven freaks who are like, like they're clearly going for them, but they weren't expecting them to round the corner right then. Yeah. So they get into a huge fight with them.
Huge number. There's like 20 of these guys. And so Croesus, I think we won initiative. Yeah. So Croesus is like, "You guys go the other way. I'll hold them off." And he charges down to this intersection, which they have to get through to get to us. And I can't remember exactly what he did initially. He did some kind of, like, he attacked one of the dwarves that was just about to reach that intersection and like pinned him down or something.
You just killed him because he was a minion.
Just killed him? Okay. He was going to do something to him then. Yeah, anyway, he killed him. And then, he was like, "You guys go with Atar. He'll take you," or something like that.
And you're like, "Who's Atar?"
Well, we know who Atar is. That's his friend.
Yeah, last session he said, "I found my friend Atar in the sewers. He's a great tracker. I sent him off after Hank. But if you run into him, he's kind of messed up. For some reason, he thinks he's me.
Yeah.
So just play along and don't confuse him, okay?"
Yeah.
All right.
And this is when we resolved that we must never leave Croesus alone for a period of time again, because he cracked real bad. So anyway.
And now he's telling you, "I'm going to stay behind
alone." Right.
Go with me.
Go with Atar. No, go with Atar.
He said, "Go with Atar."
Which means me.
Well.
Yeah. And then. Sorry, what?
No, I was just going to say what you were about to say.
No, I don't know what I was about to say.
Well, then another version of Croesus, looks exactly like Croesus, basically appeared where he had started his turn. And was like, "Okay, follow me. I'll lead you out of here. Atar will hold him off."
Yeah.
So he's got magic that he doesn't know how to use, right?
So
Okay.
So we followed the Atar that thought he was Croesus, or maybe the Croesus that thought he was Atar. Anyway.
Yeah, even Hank was the only one who could actually see both because it was around a bend in the corridor, and he was like, "Which one of you? Which one of you is Atar?" And they both said, "He is."
Yeah. So we decided to go that way because that's away from the freak dwarves, and also because they told Cricket to. So we head off in that direction, and we get round another corridor. And Atar is going to like totally pin them down at this intersection. And then one of the freak dwarves, they have their turn. One of the freak dwarves, you remember last time John mentioned the way he was doing it with these guys is he was rolling random abilities from the ritual or something like that.
Yeah, they had a 50% chance of getting a wizard power from level 5 to 7 or something like that, or 5 to 10 that would just use. Or they'd get a wizard at will. So I just basically roll a random wizard power, and if it made at all sense to use it, I would use it. Yeah.
So
they took a long time for me to like do their turns, but it was just like madness. Like they just did all kinds of weird crap.
So one of the things that those freak dwarves rolled to do, I don't know what the ability is called or anything like that. Maybe you want to mention it, or
I don't remember the name, but it essentially creates a murderous twin. That's what I think it's even called, murderous twin.
Yeah. So we duplicated Atar. Only it was a raging, murderous one that was trying to kill Atar.
So I had him be.
Or
I was
Croesus,
like, okay, what would what would the evil Croesus be like? So I just had him be like, "This is a dream, you're a nightmare. I'm gonna kill you all." So now there's
three of them, and 2 of them are fighting. What class is Croesus?
Battle
mine.
Battle mine.
No. So. Yeah, we're going to leave all that behind. We don't want to think about that. So we rounded another corner, and that's where we saw the gnomes. There were these 2 gnomes, and we've met them before.
The ones who had attacked them before and they'd fled into the sewers the first time. They were waiting in ambush down there. And when they unloaded their spells, and then they started doing more whistling,
to summon more assistance or something like that. So one of them is standing directly in our way. So Cricket Timeless Trek and Mithrendane's him or her. So she's out of the way for at least a round. So we all run through there.
That kind of wrecked their whole.
Yeah.
Put someone at each exit thing.
Yeah.
It's a great ability. Even if I miss, they go away save ends. And I did miss. But who cares? It's just a little damage.
Yeah.
So we get through there, and there's a ladder leading deeper down, and so we're all jumping down the ladder and going down that. And then Timeless Trek of Mithrandain saves out, and she reappears behind us. But we managed to get away from her. And also, oh yes, Serendipity Van Gulstar Malor, Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge, Doppler of Towers, was right underneath the manhole cover, and we could hear heavy armor up on the top side, people tromping along. And she was like, should I hold portal the manhole cover behind us? And we were like, no, we're being attacked by these crazy dwarves, or the cyborg dwarves. And we're going to leave this place next round, and then they're going to come down and deal with the cyborg dwarves. So the more factions, the better.
Yeah. They can actually hear fighting up above, like where they heard someone shouting in Elvish, which is like common to the get out of here. This is not your fight. And so there's already some kind of fighting.
Get out of here. This is not your fight.
Hank's Spider-Manning drew a bunch.
As they were running away, they heard people in heavy armor falling, face planting into the tunnels. So
once again, there's a huge fight going on behind us, over us, and we don't participate in it at all. We just get out of there. Yep, we run and wind up. I think we get a little lost again, but we don't care.
You got completely lost, but someone made a dungeoneering check to like find a safe. Like a good place to like close a hatch and ward it against pursuers. Yeah. And then they did another dungeoneering check to find like a defensible, safe little nugget where there's no one living. So they basically got there.
Yeah.
Cool. And I told them that how I ran that whole thing was I essentially did a skill challenge, except instead of 3 failures is you lose, is like every failure means that someone is after you. So Hank. So they drew three parties with their 3 failures. So Hank basically, like, mostly it was Hank, just summoned the whole city to them. And they had to fight them because they weren't very good at being surreptitious.
But we got out of there.
Someone commented that really, like, the worst would be if you just failed once. You had one faction. You kind of want to once you failed once, you want to fail as much as possible to get as many factions in there fighting.
Unfortunately, we failed a lot. So once we got away, we then had a brief period of respite where we could work out our plans, our long-term plans. This is always a problem for us when this sort of situation arises.
This is potentially the most... The party kind of cracked. Like
it went nuts. Everyone...
More than the majority of the party kind of had a breakdown of some sort or another.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome, actually.
I completely forgot the whole scent gland thing.
So wait, what?
That happened at the beginning of the session when we were... trying to find our way through the tunnels. We wanted to get Hank to find us.
Yeah, Croesus said something socially awkward without knowing it.
Yeah, he was like,
it's not biological, so...
Cricket is like part goat, doesn't she have scent glands?
Musk
glands, yeah. And so, Tim and Robert were just completely incapacitated with laughter for several minutes. They just couldn't, they could barely breathe.
But part of it was just the super awkwardness that like there was the in character, like Croesus was just like, what you fleshies are weird, and Cricket was so embarrassed because it's such an awkward question.
Yeah.
So does Cricket have musk glands?
I tried looking up. There's probably some she does, but they weren't used.
They were vestigial musk glands.
No, I don't know whether they're vestigial or not, but we moved on from there. But that was not part of this. This is now we're trying to decide what to do. We have the box, now we have to decide what to do with it. And each of us had a completely different idea of what we should do now.
Who wanted to open it?
Let's see.
No one really actively tried to open it because there is a little bit of fear of what if it blows up and destroys the world when it's open, right?
Well, Serendipity Van Gulstar Butcher of Brackenridge, Doppler of Towers, by the end of this discussion was so frustrated that she'd taken the box and started slamming it on the ground. And was it Hank or Croesus had to do the grapple thing to grab it away from her, and then she kept grabbing it back and started slamming it.
Already before that, Croesus had like sidled up, and he made a stealth check, which he got a 2 on. He sidled up the box and was like, "It's okay, just play along," and just walked away like as if he didn't do anything. And everyone was like, "What?" No, actually, I don't know if he said it in. He might have said it in.
He was talking in Sprite because he thought he was talking to what's her face, the Stacia, the Sprite.
He did call the box Stacia a couple times.
Yeah, he thinks the box is Stacia in disguise now.
And so then when she was hitting the box, he grabbed it away and he took it to a corner and started like mumbling to it in Sprite for a while, and he was just off there for a while, and eventually started sobbing, and then he comes back. Fine, be that way. Puts the box back in the middle of the room. So this stupid Sprite won't talk to you and just pouting. Yeah. So he is just totally pouting and having a breakdown that the box won't talk to him.
Croesus has had a falling out with the box. Serendipity Vengelstorm Lord Slayer, Lord Rackridge Topper Towers wants to smash it in frustration. She tried doing object reading on it a few times, and just got blank. It's like warded or something.
Yeah, she got no result. That's why she got so mad at the box. Yeah. Finally, I can find out what's in here. Show me the moment someone puts something into you, and then no result.
Yeah.
And then the final question was, show me the last thing you're allowed to show me. No result. This box.
So, I'm trying to remember, what was Hank's opinion on the matter? Hank and Aurora, I'm trying to remember now.
I think they were kind of like, it seems like the general opinion is people want to contact Halinar first, the guy who sent them on the quest.
That was Cricket's thought of what was best.
There's just the question of, should they pay the gold to do it now? Should they sleep in the city and do it in the morning, or should they try to get out of the city? So I think this sort of thing sort of settled on. We'll deal with that. Halinar is the next step, but it's just when do we do it? But so Croesus had a breakdown, Serendipity had a breakdown, but also Cricket had a breakdown.
Oh yes, because everybody wanted to do something different.
So you asked your ward, of course.
Yes, of course. I was asking. That's the whole point. Is Serendipity is like the deciding factor now, so I don't have to worry about
everybody else
crosstalk. Yeah. But she wouldn't tell me because she was too busy whimpering and slamming a box. My rock of stability was having a breakdown.
That's when you killed him first.
It's like your spike, and she's
So that was useless. And I think Aurora. Was it Aurora or was it Hank? Wanted to take the box all the way back to Valneva and give it back to him.
I think that was Serendipity. Someone proposed it. Like, let's just take it back to Halinar and be like, here's your box, here's your 500 gold advance back.
Yeah.
We're done. And multiple people were like, that actually kind of was appealing.
Well, I would be willing to do that. Maybe we'll contact Halinar first, and he may have different instructions to resolve this a lot easier, but,
just open it.
God.
Throw it into the ocean.
Yeah. I can't remember Hank. Hank was probably like...
They did do some investigation of, like, rattling it, shaking it like a and Hank did a perception check, because he has a super great dog ears or whatever, to to figure out what he can, and
Croesus
I told him
felt
it's clearly not, the box isn't padded on the inside. Whatever's hitting it is hitting it hard, and whatever's inside is not made of wood. It's made of like something harder. So that's what they're reduced to, shaking it like a Christmas present to try to figure out what's in there.
Does it roll, or does it go clunk, clunk, clunk?
And there's one object. It's not like many little objects.
And so as we started trying to parse all this information out, Serendipity, Vengelstorm, Lord Slayer, Butcher, Rackridge, Toppler Towers was sort of pulling back from her breakdown a bit. And then I suggested, what if what's inside there is another smaller box? And she started breaking down again after that. So that was not the right thing to suggest, apparently.
It's like the Russian doll.
Yeah.
I can only see two things happening with this. Either you open it and it's something completely innocuous, like a note or a love letter or something, or you open it and it's like a world-ending artifact. I think it would be funnier if it was just nothing, like a Jenga piece. Oh look, you got the last piece to my board game, finally.
Yeah, all these factions are just in a big contest.
And he's like, finally! The replacement part.
Well, you got to think that they warded it against object creation.
Yeah.
So it's got to be something important.
Yeah.
Or something no one is allowed to see.
Yeah.
Has anyone attempted to open it? Is it even locked?
My poor man.
Well,
It doesn't have a visible means of opening. Like, it doesn't have a lid. It's like a enclosed box that doesn't have an opening, a way to open it.
But you were...
We'd have to like cut it open or use some magic or something, I'm sure, but we're not taking that step.
The hammer has not been brought.
Not quite yet. Frustrated bashing, yes, but that didn't do anything. So.
My hammer.
And I think that this is pretty much where the session ended. We kind of have settled on, we're going to talk to Kalidar and find out what to do.
Let's talk to Tyler now.
But
I think it was it seemed to me like it was kind of settled that you guys are going to try to get out of the city, not try to sleep here.
I'm sure that whatever we ultimately do, getting out of the city is the first step.
There was some who wanted to try to find a market so they could, because they really want to spend their money.
Yes, my view on the matter is we should find the nearest edge of the city and jump off it immediately.
Yeah.
Well, market probably isn't very good because it would all be gnome and dwarf size.
And it'll be full of gnomes and dwarves and whatnot that are trying to kill us.
Well, we did, and someone did say you could go to where that gnome said, come back to his place. They probably have a market there. His friends are really cool.
Yeah.
Come back to the gnomestead.
Terrible pun. I'm gonna use it someday. Everybody wants to do something different. They're all talking at cross purposes and giving conflicting instruction or no instruction. I want to look to Serendipity Van Goldstrader Malor, Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge and Toppler of Towers, for some kind of tiebreaker, but she seems to be having a mental breakdown of some kind, is smashing the box against the floor. But, it's all right. It's all right. Because at least they've stopped asking about musk glands.
Dear Diary, today I spoke to a different gnome. It was very interesting. He didn't seem to be as friendly as my friend Serendipity Van Goldstrader Malor, and it made me realize that she and I really are good friends, because she treats me with a lot more respect than this random person did, but perhaps he just never met a non-gnome before and spoken to them in a pleasant way. I really wish we could stay here. I feel like if I could just stay in the city for a while, I could make a big difference. It seems like no one here likes each other, and they all seem to have these really wrong ideas about each other. It's very unpleasant and disquieting, and none of my friends seem to be all that bothered by it. In fact, I've heard some of them make comments about gnomes or dwarves, even though they hadn't even met them before. Comments about specific ones who they don't even know. I wish we could stay here longer so that we could get to know them and find out if these assumptions are true, which I suspect they are not. But it seems like Cricket, even though she won't say what she wants to do, seems like she thinks it would be best to go. And I will follow her lead, because she's my friend. And Adoran told me I should follow the party leader. I will.
Well, so we finally have the box, which is good. But now there's a bunch of dwarves and gnomes chasing us, which is bad. But our party's back together again, so that's good. But now we're lost in the tunnels. That's bad. But we're safe, at least for now. That's kind of good. But now we don't know what to do with the box or with ourselves even. That's bad. And there's another Croesus. There's 2 of them. I'm not sure what to make of that.
Well, here we are. All together again. It's just so good to have a tar back. Even if Stacia isn't talking to me. But I don't know. There's something really wrong here. Something's been starting to really bother me about all of this. See, how do I put this? Oh, right. All these dwarves and gnomes and other dwarves and other gnomes are all running around in... I just don't think they've got a permit for this rolling city of theirs.
I hate this! Stupid!